Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice 2019. As we have, to my right-hand side, we have Maynard, we have Rotterdam, we have De Muslim. It's as if the desk never changed. Gentlemen, we're going to be going into another qualification match, and it will be Creator going up against Reynor. And I think this is pretty hype, to say the least. Creator's been doing well in that upper bracket. Reynor's the kid everyone wants to see do well. What are your thoughts, Benjamin Baker?
We actually haven't seen much of Creator on the mainstream, so it was nice to be able to get to see him. He's one of the Protosses that is like very, very old school for me. I remember the Prime days where he was your boy, you know, like he used to take down everybody. He has had a real rough patch. Yeah. Like, we haven't seen a lot of him. And whenever I do see him, he's always so hard on himself, you know, like he really hates the losses. He obviously works really hard. The other Jin Air members too, they've talked about like, he really deserves a win this year because he is so good. Going up against Reynor though, Reynor's the boy. He's looking so sharp right now. And he's had some real stiff opposition so far too.
I think that's the biggest problem here is that, you know, well, I mean, a problem if you're a Creator fan, I guess, is that Reynor is very, he even said in his interview with Smix how confident he is against someone like Creator. Yeah, he said, what was it, something along the lines of, if I scout, I win versus parting, whereas Creator's a bit more standard, so he feels like he could play the matchup rather than play the man, you know? And Reynor's ZVP is fantastic. So I feel like this is going to be a nice victory for him coming up here.
Roddy?
Yeah, they played against each other a couple months ago at the Home Story Cup. Reynor was able to come out victorious 2-0 back then. But, you know, Home Story Cup, IM Katowice, obviously a very different tournament. I do agree with what both the boys said. I mean, yeah, Creator is an old school star. You always think back of that run he had in 2012. He made it to the finals of BWI. That's a long time ago. I think it was roughly 5-6 months ago when he had that sick run against the Terrans, right, with the Battle Cruise, the Tempest game. It's like, oh my God, the Creator from old is back, but he's having a really tough time being super consistent for like 5 or 6 months. So it would be awesome if this could be the start of a very consistent run for Creator. But I'm also kind of leaning towards Reynor to take this one.
That was GSL versus the World, by the way, where he knocked out TY 3-1. And the one game that he lost, it was a real, like, really good game.
Barn burner, barn burner. Anyway. Beyond that, let's take a look at the bracket here to get you up to speed with everything that's gone down so far in bracket number 3, as we do already have one player that's qualified into that round of 24, and it is Sue. And now we're going to see if Creator or Reynor can join him along for the ride. So, still, Ben, no Terran.
No Terran? I mean, one of the big guys in this group was Gumiho, and he's still rocking out in the loser bracket here, doing pretty well. He's also bringing a brand new playstyle. By the way, I think it was Super Tournament that it was Creator versus TY. So you were looking at me with that? Yeah. I knew I got it. You gave me the eye.
Also, Creator wasn't into yourself as the world then.
But, I mean, we're hoping for Gumiho here, aren't we, as the Terrans? But really stiff opposition, because, I mean, you go up against Hurricane or Parting. They're actually playing right now on this stream, so that's really cool. But yeah, it's tough, and it's not, I don't think it's because of balance or anything like that. You just have really, really good players in this group, in this bracket. You go, I just saw Kevin frickin' smiling, man. I saw him.
I'm looking at Jeff while you're having this speech, and then I'm having like this conversation with myself. What would Jeff say about this speech? Like, Benjamin, it would be so nice if you could say this on your own stream a little more often. You know?
Jeff would just be baiting me, man. He'd be baiting me.
No, but let's not forget that some of the very best Terran players have already qualified. Maru is already in the round of 24. Innovation is already in the round of 24. And even when it comes to the foreign Terrans, Uthermo and Special, and of course, I mean, kind of my personal favorite, Bunny, already in the round of 24 as well. So,
well, I think most of the players that were auto-seeded into the next round were Terrans. So if you're missing them here, they will be there later.
All right, well, looking forward to it. Let's get into our qualification match now to figure out who is moving on to the round of 24. I'm not walking over there.
That's it. I think that's how he tosses things over these days. What's up, everybody? It's In Control and Todd, or as I like to call myself, one of the only commentators that doesn't look like a munchkin next to Todd.
Well, you do look quite a bit larger, way more muscle, but less height.
Yeah, thank you. No, that's good. See how he said larger, but then as a friend he said muscle. I appreciate that. Really
it is
really like that. If you leave it up to the, if you leave it to Twitch chat to determine, they'll.
If I just said larger, it would have been awkward.
Yeah, if I could pinch an inch on that hip over there. Anyways, Creator Reynor, fantastic match. I like what the desk broke down. Creator, of course, kind of a player still fighting for that identity, right? Like, we still see his name on that short list of Korean Protosses, but never, in my opinion, as like the top dog. He's not a Zest, he's not a Stats. We're not seeing him crush tournaments. He's just always kind of in that round of 16, round of 32, and sometimes higher. But Reynor, the young buck, and I love how much of a spicy meatball he is. Sue sits him down and is like, how do you feel? And he's like, oh, if I scout partying, he's a joke, no worries. It's like, but that's the kind of confidence you want in these young players looking to grab for themselves these big championships, Todd.
Yes, it is. Let's get right into it here. On our first map, New Repugnancy, starting in the top right-hand side of the map, playing as the Blue Zerg, it is Italy's Reynor.
I have to say, with that Red Bull hat, I'm seeing a little bit of flashes of Nurchio, and there's no joke to follow that up with. I mean, as a young Zerg player, looking like Nurchio, not a bad thing. Anyways, lower left-hand side, it's the Red Protoss from Korea. Oh my God, Korea, it's Creator. Guys, I'm so sorry.
Fired.
Bad player intro, you're out of here. No, I've actually been tripping on my words a little bit, and that's actually a little bit of the jet lag that can come through as I just start saying weird words like salami. But it is going to be a low ground gateway. This is kind of the stock standard PVZ opening these days. We started off with Parting getting taken advantage of with this opening by True, so it does have its exploits, if you will. But Reynor's just so darn good. Shouldn't see anything too wild and crazy like that at this stage of the game. If you lose here, by the way, Todd, and I feel a little bit silly for just now discovering this, that means you have to play 2 more qualifying matches. And like those guys talked about, no, there's not been a lot of Terran in this bracket, but Gumio is down there sharking around, and you do not want to go fight for that guy for a qualification spot.
Yeah, that would be obviously ideal for either of these guys to make it there. I think they're looking to try and do just that. Reynor, it feels like he's more of the new school, like new age, promising young guy. Once upon a time, that was Creator, one of the absolute best Protoss in Wings of Liberty, actually. So he's been around for a long time. He still looks like he hasn't aged a day.
No, of course not.
Above like those times, but he was one of the absolute best, in particular Protoss vs. Terran with the double forge. I remember that, like, which back then was like, you know, the biggest innovation that you could do. He was basically the one with one of the best executions of that, did very well for a long time. And then after that, he struggled ever since. Wasn't quite the same in Heart of the Swarm, and now in Legacy of the Void. Still a very strong player, though.
Yeah, well, I like that you came back with that, because that's kind of a funny thing. I find myself being that apologist a little bit, where when we say struggle, we mean, oh gosh, he only qualified for like every GSL and made it to the round of 16 a few times. Like, our version of what struggle means for these players is they haven't won massive major tournaments. And I still like that StarCraft holds our players to that standard, but at the same time, we do have to recognize they're all amazing. They're fighting other amazing players to get out of that category of quote-unquote struggling. Like, even Pig last cast was like, Sue, he's been struggling. I'm like, has he been struggling? You say that? It's like, yeah, I mean, he hasn't won the GSL.
He's struggling to win finals, I guess,
he's
still.
Struggling to win the whole thing. But anyways, so Reynor here, and I like what Todd said there too, a little bit new age. And what I think Todd means by that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I agree with the statement, willing to do a bunch of different things, right? Like, he's aggressive. He's not going to do any one thing every single time. This is a guy that's already used the Nidus at this tournament, because that is all the rage. But then when I think back to Reynor matches, I think of really scrappy, ugly fights that he's pulling out with macro mechanics and micro mechanics. And the European scene describes him as a guy that's not maybe going to get lings into your base. It's just kind of a question of when. So it's, again, a little bit of that Nurchio school of ZVP.
Yeah, and ZVP is definitely in that strange place because of the Nidus now, where if you open Stargate, you're a little bit more exposed to having a harder time against that. We saw Parting combat that with opening with the Dark Shrine. In the case of Reynor, though, it feels like he's not particularly the guy to go for a lot of Niduses in every single game, you know, like you think of like a Lenog doing. So maybe Creator felt confident enough to just go for the Stargate and play on the greedier side of things, build up his economy, maybe even rush that third base. But that doesn't mean that Reynor is completely incapable of doing that, so he's going to have to watch out for that too.
Okay, well, we're seeing the text shape up here a little bit. It is going to be +1 melee for the Zerg player, followed by a double Stargate for the Protoss player. Now, the double Stargate definitely goes towards what Todd was just saying, which is, yeah, it's pretty good, but it might actually be a little bit tough in alignment with the Nidus play. And the guys at the desk did a really good job earlier talking about Scarlet in particular, that broke down and used the +1 melee build in conjunction with the Nidus, so a bunch of Lings and Queens. Again, I'm a little bit fixated on the Nidus, and I do apologize. Maybe it never comes to shape, because +1 melee is, of course, good without that. But a bunch of +1 Zerglings in your base backed by Queens, not a lot that lines up nicely against that, except for maybe Archon.
Yeah. Raynor, by the way, over $40,000 in earnings on StarCraft 2 at 16 years old.
Yeah.
I was still wearing diapers when I was 16 years old.
I mean,
I'm still wearing diapers. And he's winning $40,000.
16 years old, I was, yeah.
What do you even do with the money at this
Well,
age?
I would have bought a second Warhammer army is what I would have done.
And Creator, on the other hand, over 130,000. He's now 22 years old.
Creator is only 22 right now.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
He was like initially the super young guy in StarCraft. He was the Raynor, I guess.
Yep.
Once upon a time.
Very young guy.
But a lot of Phoenixes here being produced.
And he's hiding them. And it's not that Raynor's not in position to deal with this, it's just that when this many Phoenix show up, they will get damage in. This is where we'll always miss Roddy, because this is his kind of moment right now. He loves this Phoenix play. But lots of Queens already, and a lot of +1 Zerglings out here with that upgrade about to finish, which means this third base is never going to see the light of day. It is 2 Adepts behind that, and normally that would be fine, but these Zerglings are bolstered by that upgrade. There is an Oracle floating around above as well.
Yeah, can you realize... Oh, is that the Nidus?
Yep, of course.
Okay, so he knows... How many Queens to Phoenixes are there, actually?
Well, the Queen's getting a lot of free shots.
Only 6 Queens to 9 Phoenixes. And considering he's still making them 2x2, that would be pretty ideal for Creator if he can get enough Zealots to deal with these, or like just ground to deal with these Lings. Because the Phoenixes, they're going to deal with the Queens nicely, unless he keeps on losing them like this. But he's still killing drones.
There's so many Lings out there. They're having a fight over here at the third base. He's actually moving away from the positioning. I don't think he realizes these Zerglings are, again, +1 melee. They ain't taking no guff there. They get the full surround, and the third base will be canceled at best. But a lot of those forces die, and Todd, excuse me. Roddy somewhere. There's the Queens.
That's a compliment. Anyway.
It is. He's a good guy, right?
But yeah, those Queens now working on the wall. The Phoenixes need to fly back. And he needs to buy some time. Some on the Nidus inside of the wall here by Raynor. That's going to be covered by some of the Queens that transfuse from there as well. He's starting some Spore on location too to help against the Phoenixes, which are going to be so many of them. They're only now starting to fly back, so there's still a while before they get there. Cybercore gets sniped, so that's going to be only Zealots available for Warpins from now.
Good point. The Immortal behind this wall, though, does actually do tremendous damage to that Nidus, as it is armored. So well, it's not shooting it right now. It's just shooting at the Zerglings. Hello. Yep, that's a Nidus. You got to kill it. He's going to do that now. And as you said, without any Cybernetics Core, it's just Zealots getting warped in here. But one of the gateways dies, and here comes the flood of Zerglings. They're on top of this force. The Queen's moving in. There is 2 pylons powering all of this. One takes some damage, but maybe dives a little bit too far. Creator picks up a Queen, having a tough time killing it. The transfusion saved the Queen.
Yeah, the shield batteries helped tremendously here. For a long time, nothing was dying on Creator's side. And he's staying very patient. He can't overextend, he can't move out. All alike, Raynor cannot attack inside of this wall here just yet against all the shield batteries.
Did he remake the Cybernetics Core?
Yeah, he remade. He just
finished.
Right.
Just finished. Gateway will die and widens open the gap here. Keep your eye on that production tab, because right now Hydra Den goes down, drones as well. So I believe for the most part, and this is what's so good about Raynor, right? Like, get some damage in. But if he really leaned on this, could he win the game? Yes, but I also believe he could die from that. Phoenix can snowball. You lose all those Queens, you only have Lings, and all of a sudden the Protoss takes control. But instead of doubling down on that, Raynor says, look, I canceled your third, I've done some damage. It's been done fairly inexpensively. It's Lings, Spore Crawler Queens, it's all mineral stuff. I don't care. Let's fall back, tech up, take my base advantage, and win from there.
It's a brilliant transition, because he already had the 3rd hatchery on location, now he gets the 4th. So all he has to do is drone up a little bit and then get enough units to deal with whatever it is that Creator is going to make. And you can fully anticipate that Creator will retake that 3rd base. He actually changed his location this time around on that. And Creator is already thinking ahead as well. Robotics Bay, now on the way.
Oh, interesting.
Is it going to be Colossus, you think?
Yes, Disruptor really doesn't make appearance in PvZ. It should be Colossus, which is also a pretty cool tech. Obviously very good against Lings and Hydras. But with just the one Robo, I'm a little bit interested to see if he goes that route.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because he made that and I was like, okay, well, Colossus or Disruptor, but then he went straight into Templar guys and started charge, so it almost feels like, what, does he want to get Gravitic Drive and fly a Prism around? Like,
which is not the worst thing, but making a whole robotics bay for that, even though it is less expensive these days than it used to be, it's still pretty expensive. Whoa!
I think maybe he just wanted to cover all of his bases because he didn't know what the transition was going to be. So he thought maybe it's going to be a lot of Hydralisks, in which case Colossus make a lot of sense. So he just grabbed that, but that doesn't mean you have to commit, right?
Yeah.
And now he's doing some scouting. He's trying to see exactly what's happening on the other side of the map.
You know what's kind of funny, not to get like too incredibly meta here, but maybe you don't get range in the... Well, okay, there's the range. Anyways, I was going to say, maybe it's like literally just to clean up the heavy Ling count that's going on here. That's kind of cool, but might as well get it, that range. 2 or 3 Colossus can add a lot to this army comp. And Creator's going to be pretty happy hanging back. Raynor, creep spread, not the best. He is moving up to 4 bases. That's good, because you want that against a 3-base Protoss. Now, keep your eye on one of my favorite things about Raynor and Serral, we'll see later in this tournament. Always active with the Lings. And yes, you're going to lose Lings, but you're going to get force fields out. You're going to pick off probes. But more importantly than probably all of that, you're going to see tech. So right there you see a Colossus come out. And maybe he doesn't make a dramatic switch in accounting for that Colossus, but at least he has the option to, Todd. Whereas if he doesn't see it, he'll never know.
Yeah, Creator now has a great gas income, so he's even able to go into Storm. He's getting everything at once. Upgrades. The fact that he went for Charge is really nice because he can kind of use that extra minerals, all those extra minerals, and spend that on a lot of charge loss at the front. But yeah, Storm plus Colossus here is going to be great in dealing with this. And I feel like Raynor is going to have a timing here in a minute where his army is still strong, but the more he waits and the closer Creator gets to maxing out, the worse he's going to get for the Zerg player. So he's going to have to maybe do an attack sometime soon, unless he wants to play it Serral style, really slow. Just go for that Hive, reach those Vipers, maybe some Infestors, kind of take his half of the map, really, and try to drag this on. But that would, sometimes that can be a very scary prospect, especially against somebody like Creator, who's really good and can easily go into a Mothership, some Tempest later on, and play some very good late game himself.
Well, if a Station Pit 5th base, Todd, I think he is definitely thinking along the same lines as you. Go up to that 5 base, and by the time the Protoss makes their way to a 4th base, you've already got that kind of +1 base buffer that you need. 12 more Banelings. So I think that's something like, I did the math, it's 600 Banelings on the board right now, which is quite a few. And that's a great answer. I love, too, that the Protoss army is like the answer for everything, but then Banelings are kind of the answer for everything, too, right? Like, if you can't block these guys out and I get a surround on you, you're going to go pop.
I think the right quantifier that we use in StarCraft is so many of them.
Yes, you have to.
That's the one.
Somewhere out there, our brother Artosis is listening, and if we don't make that reference, we'll be very disappointed. Darkshrine being started here as well as an additional Colossus, but behind that it is that Spire and Hive for Raynor. And Raynor's, he is banking money. He's mostly maxed right now, but he's saying, hey, that's fine. I'll let my upgrades finish. I'll get towards Broodlords, and by the time we fight, I'll have the kind of bank where I can then spend on that critical tech that is Broodlords. And he's playing fairly passive here, Todd.
Yeah, for now, yeah. To be honest,
God.
yeah, that's a lot of them.
Observer, hit the unit key, please. Tell us.
32 plus...
Is it only 32?
22 is...
54. I did that live. It's not hitting the unit key. All right. I'll make a different request later. Observer, pay yourself more money.
Given how aggressive Raynor played and that he wasn't focused on creep spread, the creep spread is actually pretty good. Like, this is actually scary right now for Creator to step close to this. Like, he's denying some creep, but as soon as he steps on the creep, he knows that Raynor could easily engage super quickly into this army and he'd be in trouble. This is very good, by the way, scouting with some hallucinated Phoenixes, see exactly what composition there is and where the army is.
More Banelings. This fight, this is actually going to be the so many Baneling collision that we've talked about. Like, that's... The Observer is denying me this information. That's fine. I'm okay. I'm not fixated at all. But it's got to be like 60 Banelings.
There is 5 sentries for force fields. If you can synergize those with the High Templars and Storms, sometimes it will be a very one-sided fight in Protoss' favor. But that's all about Zerg taking a 360 engagement on creep, ideally, which Creator is looking to not let happen.
Okay, here's a Baneling hit squad. You ever made so many Banelings you can actually take out a Colossus with them? Well, if you haven't, that's what it looks like. And here comes the army fighting over the right side. It's mostly Queens. They get caught and killed for free. A weird army from Creator, by the way. It's like quite the hodgepodge. This base over here in danger. And now some sack defense is going up, but that is most of Raynor's army. Here come the Banelings. They're getting stormed, but they're also getting to the middle of this Protoss army, and that soft underbelly does take some severe damage. Those are Templar. They're unsupported. And now the Hydra's swinging in. Colossus getting focused down. They're dead. Here comes all the Zerg might. And Creator, you made a mistake. You fought Raynor on creep. It's just not looking good. That base gets shut down. He's dropped down below on supply. And Creator has just fallen apart. This is not even falling off the wagon, Todd. This is falling off a wagon, falling off a skyscraper in Fast and Furious 9. That's it. Raynor, he just got the win. it was weird, right? Like, they were just so passive, and they're like, I guess we're fighting. And Raynor's like, you were never fighting, my friend. You were scratching.
That was insane. Like, his supply plummeted faster than I had ever seen before.
Yeah.
He lost literally every single fight on the left side. I think that's because his army got caught there by the banelings. He was like, oh, okay, all right, you're missing those units inside of your main army. I'm just going to attack. But kind of ran out of force fields, and when those banelings start on connecting, I mean, they just cleaned up super fast, the entire army of Creator here. So kind of lost patience, but credit to Raynor for engaging in so many locations at once, and even recognizing that, you know, the attack wasn't going to work, going back into droning up, taking that 4th base. Really nicely done here by the young Italian player.
Todd, you broke it down really well, and all I can do as the guy with the animated voice is basically rehash what you just said and agree in full. I mean, remember, this game started with a Nidus kind of timing attack, right? Like a mid-game Nidus timing attack, and like you said, he disengaged at exactly the right time. He didn't even do, like, mega critical damage. We're not talking about a Protoss that went down to 15 probes, and wow, Raynor won 10 minutes later. It's not like that. It was kind of even, but it was more of a situational advantage for Raynor from that point forward, and then every decision he made was just great, and capitalizing on that multi-prong attack there towards the end. And it was Creator that looks frazzled, right? Like, this is the qualifying match, by the way. Creator has made a few other very good StarCraft players look very bad at this tournament. And here's Raynor saying, what are you doing in the same game as me, nerd? Get out.
Truly, like, that was very convincing. I'm so impressed with, like, a lot of the non-Korean players, you know, really stepping up. Obviously, Serral leading the pack, but you got more players, you know, guys like Scarlet, Special, Neeb, really posting results consistently against some of the best Korean players out there. And now you got the young kid in Raynor, 16 years old, and playing at the highest level of StarCraft.
Oh, I think back to Snoot, I think it was last year. Yeah, it must have been last year. He was kind of talking about the inspiration that is Serral. He says, you know, when you watch Serral do what he did, you have to kind of ask yourself, why can't I do that? And you're starting to see that be that kind of inspiration for this scene, where players like Showtime even, and some of these other guys that are like, no, I'm going to double down on practice. I can actually make this happen and get myself to BlizzCon and make a challenge for that trophy. Well, here we are. Anyways, in game number 2, up in the top left-hand side, coming out of Korea, it's the Red Protoss Creator. 22, nope, that's not it. Did I look at the wrong?
I thought, yeah, we were looking at Raynor actually on the screen.
That's okay. I was, it's very interesting who's driving where here, right? The observer's like, no, we're introducing Raynor, even if you say Creator. That's it. That was his introduction, Creator. And you show Raynor again? Well, guess who the joke's on now, observer person? Raynor, yeah, there you go. The old adage, all StarCraft players look the same. You know what I'm saying? Jeez Louise.
And just like that, the production has a least favorite caster.
Yep. Well, it's been for a while, my friend.
No, that's at Home Story Cup.
That's okay. The battle's been waged, though. I'm still ticked off. I asked to see how many banelings we got, and they were just like, no. You don't get that.
You don't get to ask for stuff.
You don't get to see the units.
We're the ones in charge.
Yeah, we got the buttons. You know these observers. So I think it's Indy that did that, by the way. Coco would have flipped to that so quick, it would have made his head spin.
I think Indy Seago is a bit out of control
It
since
is.
he won the... that's probably not even him observing. Poor guy.
They can't type. Yeah, they can't tell us. But, by the way, while we're on the subject, big shout out to our observers. We got Mapu here, Coca, and Indian. And all jokes aside, Indy did just win the Caster Clash Invitational. Amazing achievement. Mapu seems to be at every event. The guy's a really hardworking observer. And Coca, he's a Frenchman, so just overcoming all of that to just be here and actually work a day in his life is just incredible. Shout out to these guys. Thank you so much. They're doing a great job.
Yeah, they are.
We got Apollo producing the show. So a lot of people, if you're wondering why we're in a little bit more casual wear today, it's because Apollo said we've got the freedom to kind of do that on these early days of this tournament. We'll get fancy for you guys later. Don't worry. But it's been really fun here in Katowice. They're taking great care of us.
Yeah.
Some great StarCraft. Got a lot of good, talented people here.
I think our casting instructions were very simple. Just have fun.
Yeah, literally.
So we're almost at the point where we want to kind of, you know, we want to test where's the limit of where the fun ends. But
yeah. Well, I've been testing for 10 years. Yeah. So far, I haven't found it yet. Just keeps being fun. So it's going to be a Stargate here from Creator again. And Todd pointed this out last game, and I really liked the discussion on that. It is a little bit different, right? It's got a little bit of a weak spot to that Nidus play. But part of StarCraft at the same time is that if something's strong, you can't necessarily let that bully you off of all of your own ideas, because then it's hurting your ability to catch your opponent off guard. So a little bit of that is, yes, it is strong, but that doesn't mean I auto-lose, and I still sometimes have to do something knowing my Zerg opponent could take advantage of that.
Jeff?
No, he's safe. Don't worry. I've never seen Overlord die here.
Really? That's why it's gonna die here?
Jeez Louise. Here's the thing. The box that it died just to the left of, that's where it's safe. It could have gotten there. Oh, now you're going to show us that
Could
argument.
have, but it didn't. And now Rainer supply blocked. Not the start he was hoping for.
How many units are lost so far? You'll show that screen.
There you go.
All right.
Just the one Overlord. Very quick two gases at the natural, by the way, for Creator. Like, as he's saturating that.
Are they fake?
No. He's getting a Robo and a Twilight, so...
Archon drop, probably.
Yeah, could be. Could be an Icon drop. Could be charge. Could be blink.
So here's the funny thing, by the way. I want to give a little bit of explanation. The observers actually might have shown how many Banelings there are. There's 2 monitors in front of me where I'm casting. One is a preview screen of the stream. The other is literally just a game feed, and I've been looking at the right monitor.
You were?
Yes.
I don't even know what that is.
Anything the observer... This is the game. That's
Yeah, but no, I mean, like, who controls that? I think they put it on one of the...
It's the same.
No, it's not.
It is.
Yeah, see,
A little bit behind.
Yeah, no, this
You're right,
is like
exactly.
somebody else. Yeah, I don't know if it's the backup observer or if they put it on like one of the other streams and follow
Anyways,
it.
long story short, it's my fault, so I'm trying to get at. I messed up. The observers are doing great.
Apology accepted.
Yes. So it is going to be that Archon drop, and it's not going to be the Dark Shrine we saw from Parting, which I actually kind of prefer these days. I know that the Templar Archives obviously segues really nicely into Storm. You can still make Archons off of that, of course, but Storm, Immortal, Charge Lot, that seems to be the kind of composition you want to land on. The Dark Shrine, though, has the chance to kill a third, or even if you challenge the main, you can just do kind of game-ending damage there. Obviously, also, the other thing is it's not a big shock that I like Dark Templar, but he is going to go with the Archive here while taking a third behind this.
Yeah, I like that. I think he's a very solid way here to play in the matchup. Like you said, usually we see a Dark Shrine a lot of the time, but I think Templar Archives is just fine as well. We'll see whether it's for Archons. Yes, it is. So not going to do something really fancy and rush Storm. That can be very risky when you do something like that.
No, and it is Archons, but it's not the drop, right? Like this Oracle, oh my god, it can't die. It's so important. The Archons were warped in where? Like back at home. So it's going to come over and join up with the Warp Prism. But this is late.
Yeah, this is like Pig in the morning.
Yeah.
You have to catch the shuttle.
Pig in the morning. That reference, though.
Pig's always late.
It's got to be an Australian. That's a joke we'll explain on the Pilot Show or something like that. We'll tell you guys about Australians and getting there on time. I'd make a Maynard joke here, but he would actually probably... Yeah, he's looking at me right now. He's going to punch me in the face if I made one, so I'm just not going to. Now, this can do a couple of things. So we say it's late. Does that mean it's bad? No, it does not. It can fight back creep. It can pick up kind of little cutesy units here and there. It's mostly also to occupy the Zerg attention, but the other part of this, of course, is to kind of keep tabs on their tech. If you see 30 roaches, well, guess what? They're committing to roaches. But if you only see 9, what's going on behind that? And that can prompt you to scout out for that kind of thing.
It's a very solid way, I think, to play in the matchup, to open with 2 Oracles like this. You get a lot of scouting done, you force Spores, and then you harass with Archons, and then you go into charge. And while you build up your Immortal counts, you can later on start working on some upgrades and get Storm and High Templars. And once you reach something like, let's say, 6 to 10 Immortals, you can really start getting out on the map and applying a lot of pressure. It's very hard for Zerg to deal with that, regardless of how many Banelings they have. It feels like Lurkers may be one of the better ways of something to go into, but they're not very mobile.
Right. Yeah, we actually, now that I think about it, I have not seen a whole lot of Lurkers in this tournament at all so far. These Oracles found a hole here, though, and actually even capitalizing on the fact that Sporecrawler had to relocate back to the better spot. Quite a few drones did die there at the cost of just the 1 Oracle, so not bad. You do want to keep the 1 Oracle alive, though, to spot forever.
Can we see the units lost tab for a sec?
He just showed it, yeah.
Woo! Oh, that's the previous screenshot.
I know.
You're looking at the wrong one.
Again. Wrong one, but they just showed us the irony of that.
1 Oracle for all of this. Yeah, I'll take that trade.
Not bad. Almost a perfect game so far. Now, Creator's moving out, and one of the things to keep in mind, is it's once again a fairly charge lot heavy army, and so far it's mostly roaches from Raynor, and he's doing that style where he's going to max out here in a few moments. He's just going to shoot all the way up. He's making a Nidus, he's going to add Queens to this as well, and the Zealots really don't do much here. it's very tough to win this fight out in the map. It's mostly Immortals, it's mostly the Archons that will do that damage for you. Even Storm is nice, but not the biggest of deals when it's just Roaches.
Check out that Overlord at the top, or that Overseer.
It's going to the main.
Nidus time.
I think
The
it's
Messenger.
multi-Nidus, though. Like, Nidus there, and maybe the Roach army starts pushing across towards the third or something?
A lot of the army, yeah, is at the third base.
You already got Zealots here. Yeah, that will
Can
not
he snipe that on
finish.
time? Where's the warp in? One Zealot.
That's a slow warping. It actually might finish because it's a slow warping.
Is there Quince loaded up first in the Nidus?
We're about to find out, my man. Oh, now the Immortals say no, no, no.
All right, denied. This
But
one won't
this
be.
is the attack I was talking about. The whole army shows up over here, so there's the Roaches getting on top of a couple of these Immortals, but who got on top of who? Trying to go after the Templar and be fancy there, that's not going to work. Archon's flanking behind this. Creator says he's got some fancy footwork of his own as well. And
If Creator defends this convincingly, he will have won the game. It's very important here for him to maximize the Storm's
God,
damage.
there's so much army in this main base, though. They're not noticing that right now. The fighting at the third continues. And that army's starting to dwindle. The shield battery does not have much energy left on it, but here comes this next. No, you can't pop out of there. The Immortals will shut that down immediately. And behind this, the fourth base was getting whittled down by the double Archon. I think Creator's in a pretty good spot so far.
Yeah, he's managing this really well, but he's far from over. Raynor still with a lot of Roaches, looking to try and find some damage, starting a bunch of Niduses all over the place. Darkshrine about to finish as well. He's got the Warp Prism across the map, so he could actually warp in some of these there. Roaches pounce on top of these Immortals here, and are doing a lot of damage and sniping some of them, but they're falling rapidly. The supply is plummeting in control.
Good thing they get into Nidus just as fast as they get out. The main base being attempted again, but this time I don't think the Immortals are there. And he's just now noticing there is a warp in. Is it going to be enough? Zealots do okay damage here, but if it is Roaches that pop out of this, nope, it's going to go down really quickly. Great defense from Creator so far.
The Nidus success rate in this game has been pretty low.
It's been bad. Not going to lie. It's not been great. That is a hatchery on fire, by the way. Again, shout out to those of you that support esports and StarCraft through the War Chest. You yourself can get some of these skins.
And watch your hatchery burn if you turn it
Yeah,
on.
well, or their hatchery burn, right?
Yeah, true.
There you go. Oh, classic DTs. Love it. And then they die. Then they don't die. Absolutely not.
Oh, whoa.
Don't mind.
Wait, what were they doing?
Trainer. So Creator's been able to get himself back into this game, but donating some things like Immortals would be a pretty bad way to throw it away. Now, it's going to be Hydra Tech behind this as well. You cannot just stay on the Roaches. And look at Creator. He's saying, no, man, anywhere you go with this, it's not going to happen. At this point in time, you almost bait it out, right? Like, it's like, go ahead and put another one down. I'll then warp in units and put it down.
Like these Niduses, even though they are cheap, they haven't been worth at all.
No.
Raynor
You are right,
still
they are
ahead in
cheap, but
supply.
it's still gas.
Yeah. Raynor is kind of trapped on this Lair Tech army with Roaches, now finally adding some Hydralisks. And I feel like he must be getting desperate here at this point. There's not much he can do other than crank out units and hope that Creator completely butchers the fight that he feels is about to happen. There is a bunch of High Templars ready to storm.
Ooh, there goes
It's going to be
the
very scary. But again, once you step on Creep, all bets are off.
Oh, jeez. The Hydra's... Ooh, weird splitting of arm... Ooh, Raynor, what... Jeez, that was like a... They were like being pushed to the front of a concert. They're like, no! I want to stand in the back. They're like, circle pit, circle pit.
Involuntary mosh pit.
Yeah. Nidus attempt number 19 being queued up over here, but Creator says, go ahead, Nidus. I'm looking to end this game. Look at the Immortal supply. It's incredible. Oh my Storms going down all over the front lines. Immortals forming some kind of gun line that you just simply do not want to look at if you're a Zerg player. And Raynor's going to fight, but it's not going to be good as he backs up here just to delay the inevitable. And Creator going to take a big concave.
Yeah, he's setting up the concave with hold position here. This is almost looking funny at this point. But yeah, the Nidus can't get fused across the map, and Creator gets the equalizer here in game number 2.
It's like Return of the Jedi. They're setting up for the big battle on Endor. There's Palpatine talking to Luke Skywalker. Vader's like, we're going to duel here. And then they just roll credits. They're like, what? What just happened here? I'm like, well, there's no fight. They all knew that they were defeated, and that's it. Okay, Raynor taps out. It's one apiece. We're heading to game number 3 for this decider match in that upper bracket. The winner will be seen in the top 24. We'll resume play on Thursday with these guys. The loser is going to have to go down to that lower bracket and slug it out with the likes of Gumio and some other sharks. Actually, let's get some update on that, right? Gumio and Hurricane.
Yeah, Hurricane beating Parting earlier, so...
So he will wait for the winner of...
Gumiho will play against the loser of Reiner here against the Creator, and then the winner of that will play against Hurricane.
Isn't that amazing? Like, you do so well, so you get to the top bracket finals, you lose that, you then have to beat Gumio, and then you have to beat Hurricane just to qualify.
That's
wow.
tough. That's pretty tough.
I mean,
but
it's a GSL group. You have to win a GSL group to get out of this freaking Katowice here. You know?
Then again, if you do, you really deserve to go on to the round of 24. And then you look at your group, and it's like Cyril and all of these guys. Like, all right.
And it's round robin, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, very impressive games, I think, from both players here so far. A lot of mature decision-making, I think. Like in that game one, it was, you know, the defense, I think, from Creator was really good, but then Reiner being able to say, all right, this is not going to work anymore. I'm just going to pull back, drone up. And then in game two, Creator staying very patient. From the get-go, he went for the right composition.
Yes.
Defended really well when Reiner had a lot more units, and then behind this, went for the killing blow. Very patiently also, you know, he didn't engage too early up that ramp. He moved up there once the corrosive bites were used.
Todd, I've been crunching some numbers. You want to hear something gross before we do these player intros?
Sure.
Reiner, 16 years old, Creator 22. Add their ages together, 38. Guess how old Artosis is? Guess. He's 76, which is 38 times 2. So it's just these numbers, man, that are hidden in this beautiful game. Amazing. Anyways, our observer's getting impatient. In the top left-hand side from Italy, it's the young man, Reiner. Nurchio's first child. Doesn't he kind of look like Nurchio? Is anyone else seeing that? You guys see that, right? Lower right-hand side, from Korea, it's the Red Protoss, Creator. What a cutie.
Yeah, I wonder if Creator is looking to try and repeat a similar style here. You know, it could be a little bit predictable, but it just worked out so well. I really like, you know, the decision of not overcommitting to Stargate units. Yeah. Just double oracles. He's just so solid, and the execution was there. You know, like he forced spores, killed a bunch of drones, and behind this, he had enough for the defense.
And he let Reiner fall on the sword a little bit, right? Like, Reiner got a little bit tunnel visioned on that Nidus play. And as you point out, it's not expensive, so it's not necessarily the worst thing for him to try to get him canceled a whole bunch. But for me, it's more that he stayed on roaches that long. He was building extra queens. And then he was kind of consuming his actions with that. And the amazing part that we didn't give enough credit to is that behind that, Creator was killing drones and stopping the fourth base from ever being effective with that double Archon drop. He just kept doing it. Look
at this, he's doing the hug trick. Yeah. No, I'm not talking about the heart. Because that was
grabbing
useless.
minerals and stopping.
Yeah. It's so annoying. You know, some Zergs, they really hate this like that much that they send like 1 or 2 drones.
Yeah.
Send that probe away.
Well, that's where it becomes really good, in my opinion. It's kind of funny because, I don't know, I don't want to get into a full, because I don't know the math behind this, and I know that all of the Twitch chat does, but when you do that, you basically make it so that you're mining at +1 on saturation, right? So you're 17 out of 16, basically. I don't think it hurts you like almost at all, is what I'm trying to get at.
No, I think like the point is like the closer minerals to the hatchery, you're meant to, you know, it's 2 drones, right?
Yeah.
So you're meant to make one of them bounce away.
Yeah.
Go to one of the
But it's like a fraction of a trip is what it sets you back.
Yeah. I mean, when I do that, like, I have 700 minerals, so...
I know. Yeah.
It definitely...
Well, I can't even... Yeah, exactly. I can't even try because I know that I'll have 700 minerals, so I'm just like, no, I'm not going to do it.
Speedling here actually being researched by Reiner. Maybe looking to try and be a bit more aggressive. If he gets an opportunity, he's scouting everything across the map with the 1 Overlord that's there. Hopefully this time he doesn't lose it.
Well, it's his bread and butter too, right? Like, he is known for his scouting and his active lings. With that early speed, he'll be able to shut down things like this Adept, hopefully. Hopefully.
He's going to get in with 2 lings, actually, across the map, I think. If he runs in there. Because there is no wall yet. Ooh, nice.
It's actually a pretty sick drone micro. He only loses the 1. Wow.
Okay, he's going to go past, and he's going to spot the Stargate, but the first Oracle's already almost... Ooh, no, he's not.
Yeah.
Blocked. Denied.
Denied. There's your red-eye moment.
Red Eye would have said something a lot less suitable.
He's got a very adult broadcasting style, which is not appropriate for Ian Katowice. At least my impression of him.
We'll say
Just
that.
kidding,
for
Paul.
Home
We
Story
love
Cup.
you, buddy. He's also here, so I have to be really nice. So show up.
Strangle you.
Robo. So it was Stargate, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yep, no, that's a real Oracle.
4 drones. Casual 4 drones, not bad. Behind that, the Overlord is sacrificed to see a Stargate that he already knew was there anyway. Gonna be able to spot the Twilight Council as well. Yeah, that's not a good way
when
to
you see
open
the
a
Twilight
game.
Council there, you pretty much know it's Archon drop, so I think Raynor should feel fairly comfortable this game's going to kind of slide into a very normal cadence. Oh, wow. Raynor, this is a little greedy, these Zergs here. It was interesting watching Sue drop a game because he basically just got really stubborn on never making Spore Crawlers. All right, there you go. And again, this is not game-ending damage per se, but you know, that's a good 7 drones that died to the single Oracle. That's pretty darn good production for the Oracle.
I mean, 47 probes to 42 drones. Obviously, like this is the time where Zerg starts producing drones, you know, 7 by 7 or something.
Yeah.
But they still have to make buildings like the Roach Warren and all that, additional extractors. So they keep on losing drones every time that they do that. So it's a bunch of drones that you're very happy to have killed because you definitely slow the Zerg economy a whole bunch, which is the way to play in the matchup. So third base is about to start now for Creator, and where do you go from there if you're Raynor? Like with what happened last game where he just made a ton of roaches and denied Niduses and he was perfectly denied, and we see Creator opening the same way, which is what Raynor should be anticipating. How different does he play? Does he play slower and without the Niduses and with more Hydras?
Yeah, I mean, the world's kind of his oyster. You can go any route, but I do agree with you that probably don't return to the whole, I'm going to try to muscle you out with Nidus play. Now, this was actually a big deal. So, a big-ish deal. The Lings finding that Warp Prism means he confirms what he knew, which was that it was going to be Archon drop, but also he delayed the timing of those Archons, and it's getting kind of weird. Like, Creator actually...
Wait for me.
Yeah, but it's still just the one Archon. This is not a real drop, so
Yeah.
I don't know if he's frazzled. I'm not quite sure what's going on here, but he's been thrown off. One Archon drop is not a thing, guys. I'm not... There's no argument from anyone like, Jeff, you didn't see this in the GSL on the night of Thursday at 6:17 p.m. No, it's not real. So Creator's, I think, either just trying to fake or he actually has been thrown off what he was doing.
I think he doesn't really care, to be honest, about the Archon drop. Like, he doesn't have to commit that much to it. Like, he knows that Raynor is probably overreacting, which I almost want to say that he is, because like for a long time now he was making roaches, even though he already had reached a good count with which he could counter the Archon drop. And in this case, he hasn't been building up his economy as much as he should have. Whereas on the other side, we've got upgrades going. The second Robo now, so it's obviously, like I said, you want to get a lot of Immortals, then go for an attack. But Raynor, that's his ace up his sleeve, his Spire up his creep.
It's just watching two Grandmaster chess players go at it. Like you were exactly right, Todd. He gets a bunch of roaches to come out. Now, whether or not that's a reaction or that was Raynor saying, I want to be aggressive, we'll not know. But the second Robo comes out in response to that. And that's kind of what Creator was trying to kind of poke Raynor into doing. But this Spire is beautiful. The Mass Immortals doesn't necessarily mean you cannot have an answer for the roaches. But it definitely means that unless you scout out pretty soon, churning out roaches, or excuse me, Immortals 2 at a time is not what you're going to want against the 12, 15, and so on mutas that could show up.
I love the location because the main base is like the least likely place where Creator is going to be able to go at and spot this. So you're hoping it goes undetected and you can squeeze out something like, 8 to 10 Mutalisks so that then you can fly into middle lines and start killing probes. With the Protoss player not being ready, so not having made Phoenixes, Stalkers, 12 Mutalisks start.
Yep.
Will they see this? Because this might just fly into a Spore. But I mean, the Mutas are already on the way anyway. And Raynor is really hoping, like he's counting on his Mutalisks to do a lot of damage and start pulling further ahead.
The Oracle will spot this, but look what's coming out alongside that, Todd. It's the 12 mutas, and then immediately back into Roach production. So he's hoping to say, hey, start getting Phoenix out, build, Photon cans, get Archons going, and then all of a sudden, it's maxed out Roaches jumping on top of that army. Now, I will say, Todd, if Creator kind of buttons down and stays on these 3 bases, he's in a pretty good spot. Yeah. His 4th base of Raynor is quite late. He's investing in mutas. They have to get damage done, and then Roaches do not carry over into the late game very well. So Raynor being very aggressive, but he's got to do damage right now.
And immediately we got a couple of cannons starting, shield batteries, second Stargate, more Phoenixes, but there's just not enough yet. The Warp Prism with the Archon is really nice to chase these Mutalisks, because then they can't quite engage into it. Otherwise, the Archon would clean up everything. But his own SimCity is playing against him here for Creator. That Archon going all the way around is just not fast enough.
Mutas finding damage. They're occupying attention of Creator. Creator at 141 supply. Raynor maxed out. Behind this, it is all roaches. 14 probes have died. But enough Mutas have died that the single photon cannons at each mineral line should have basically shut this down. But here comes Raynor across the map with a big blob of roaches. And I have to emphasize this, I know this doesn't look good, but it's got to do so much damage, and it's got to do it right now, because if it doesn't, and Creator's able to kind of, again, secure his 3 bases and go from there, it's going to be a tough game for Raynor. But with his army out on the map and just walking in, I guess, there are Immortals over there, so it's going to be kind of the teeth of this army.
Yeah, the army in the natural is going to be a big problem.
Oh, you can't get there.
Wait,
you cannot get up there.
How did you have this much there?
And it looks like the Templar. This is a gas-heavy chunk of the army. If it can get out of there, that's pretty darn good. Probe count, a bit of an issue, down to 54, but again, on 3 bases, you only want something along the lines of like 66 or so. So it's not too far off.
Okay, so Creator lost a bunch of probes, but he's remaking them very quickly. Actually, it feels like this didn't do enough damage. I thought that the Roaches were going to be able to do more, but he already had so many Immortals. Like, the supply is actually deceiving here for once. Because Creator has so many Immortals, like he's up to like, what, 8 to 10? And against this full ground army and the High Templar.
No, I look at...
How many Immortals are there?
23 Hydras in production. A Lurker Den behind that as well. If he can get to the Lurkers, that's great. Creator is not pushing up for a 4th base. I feel like this guy is coiling up for a massive attack. Dark Shrine's about to finish as well. He's scouting out with the Phoenix. He says, nope, you're stuck on that ground army. I'm not seeing more Mutas. So I'm not worried about a big counterattack. He's going to have to push out here pretty soon. And if Lurkers can take the field, Todd, I think that Raynor can have a chance. But unless that, like you said, the supplies are deceiving. I think Creator's about to steamroll.
Yeah, this army is so scary when you have this many Immortals plus High Templars. It's so hard for Zerg to engage on or off creep. Roaches don't even know where to go here at this point. Phoenixes will provide some extra vision. Raynor, I like this. He's threatening a counterattack here.
But there's Dark Shrine behind this. Warp and DTs, shuts it down immediately.
Where did he warp in before DTs? He just swapped in, actually, because he swapped in a whole bunch. +2 about to finish. Okay, he warped in across the map here. This massive army will march forward. Raynor evacuates the 4th base. I think he needs those Lurkers, but the Lurker Den is not finished yet.
Yep, the Oracle dies, revealing to him that this is a desperate situation for Raynor. He is sacking that 3rd. That's great. But it's all about this fight over here. Not even going to work on the rocks. There's the Storm Sound on top of absolutely everything. Hydra's trying to buy time for the Spine Crawlers. Will it be enough? I don't think so. There's so many Immortals. They're waddling their way up here. And without the Spine Crawlers finished, without Lurkers to back them up, it's not going to be good. Actually, excuse me, 9 Lurkers just finished. But from that position, Todd, he should lose the natural as well.
Yeah, he could just walk into the main base or even the 3rd base here. Raynor with the counter-attack. But I mean, Dark Templars eventually are going to get rid of all these. The Phoenixes in support as well, making sure that no Overseer can go there. Raynor getting desperate here. He's engaging into this army.
Oh, that's the layer too.
Creator is being so patient. He's spreading out his units as he needs to. And I think he's about to close the show.
Well, maybe not, but here the Lurker's going to push forward. Actually, the ramp getting clogged up just a little bit. And he is going to split off. All the Hydra's dying. It's so expensive. Supplies largely in favor of Creator. And he's going to kill the 3rd behind this as well. The main base is under siege. I don't see anything Raynor can do but to accept his fate that he's going to be dropped down into that Lion's Den and have to fight his way out. That's it. Creator with a fist pump of celebration. He's moving on to the top 24, and you can see the young man. It feels good. This is something he came all the way over here to do, and he has done it, Todd. He's on his way.
Yeah, this means so much to him. That was intense. I can't blame him. Like, I wish more players would show this much emotion, but after such an intense game, even though sometimes they won't show it, trust me, anybody would be really happy. That was a really close and hard-fought series and games here.
Fantastic series here over at IEM Katowice 2019. We're going to head to a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to hear from Creator, and we're going to see the exciting conclusion of this group. Is it going to be Gumio? Is it going to be this young man here? You'll have to wait and see.